So what happens is typically Rule 36 of the PCI rules prevents lawyers from advertising, right? Because they believe that we're a noble profession and we must not advertise ourselves. A lot of people believe that advertising of your legal services is actually vulgarization of those services. Now, that was Rule 36 back in the day. The understanding around the space and the law has evolved. In 2008, post liberalization, the BCI brought in a proviso allowing for us to actually have websites, share some of our contact details, share the practice areas we function in. So clearly, they saw that there was a need to evolve with changing times, right? So law firms can actually now legitimately have websites, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that dialogue, I think, in 2008 really underwent a massive change. The change from there on was law firms used to traditionally earlier on, they didn't believe in advertising too much. All their clientele primarily came in through just word of mouth, references, old relationships with promoters. That is how business came in for law firms. Suddenly, after we were hit by that whole recession phase, the legal industry in India only underwent a very massive change. The change started in very small ways. It started with law firms starting to suddenly sponsor a lot of moots, coming onto campuses to talk about pre-placement offers, internship offers. Then they sort of transitioned into spaces where you suddenly saw a lot of well-known lawyers on television talking about very hotly debated topics, and they would freely opine. Then they started writing articles. Then you started seeing websites come into play. You started seeing a lot of lawyers actually actively attend a lot of conferences. New conferences were curated specially for the legal industry, and the attendees were well-known lawyers of repute, and they were all astounding successes, all those conferences. So I think that's how the dialogue within the legal industry also gradually but surely changed. What we see today of law firms from maybe even 5 or 7 years ago, there is a huge change in just intent, right? Today, managing partners, junior partners, those on the brink of partnership, everybody sees value in business development, in marketing, in branding. Some of us may understand the why, some of us may not understand the why, and we can address that a little later. But largely, that is how the dialogue within the legal industry has changed. Another major reason for the dialogue changing is at some level we know that the possibility of foreign law firms coming into India is fairly high. It's hotly debated, and we know that sooner than later it probably will happen. In consonance with that, I think Indian law firms realize that if they don't start talking about themselves, if they don't talk about the great work they do, if they don't establish their brands today, when the gates do open to foreign law firms, it'll be a very flooded market. And then to start the process might be a bit too late. So I think that's another reason the intent has changed.